Okay guys, hey, welcome back. We're here doing another live stream. I know this is 2 days in a row, but I had a request for a kind of a more beginner-ish, more complete neck design modeling video. So I'm going to attempt that today. I generally don't do a lot of beginner, entry-level Fusion stuff. My stuff is more geared to advanced users. But this is kind of me trying to do that. If you're brand new to Fusion 360, then I have a couple resources that I think you should check out, and I've got them in the links in the description down below. But Lars Christiansen, here, let me just show you what these guys look like. So this guy right here, Lars Christiansen, he's awesome. This is where I learned a lot of the stuff that when I started out with Fusion. Now I came from Autodesk for way back. I think I originally began with Autodesk in high school in about 1992-93. So yeah, a little while back. And yeah, so this guy is the transition for me, it's kind of hard for me to describe this stuff to beginners because I've been using it for so long, and the transition from AutoCAD to Fusion 360 was relatively simple for me. They do things in some very different ways though, so the best guy for explaining those differences is this guy, a little bit more under your belt, and you feel a milling setups, and that bears a striking resemblance to the stuff that we're doing here. So check those guys out. That's really where I got my feet wet, I guess, with Fusion 360. But I'm going to take my attempt at doing what those guys do really well and see if I can blunder through it and make something that's entertaining and hopefully educational as well. Need a little drink there. So I've got a blank canvas here. I wanted to really start. I've downloaded a couple. These are just pictures I pulled off of Google. They're pretty accurate, but I'm not really relying on their accuracy much. It's just kind of like a canvas that's used for reference. So this neck pocket image, right here, this thing is quite useful. It's got all your dimensions on it. It seems to be pretty accurate. I like to put my models in. So we've got a few dimensions here. We've got 3 and 3/16. We could go from here to here and make this 3 and 3/16. Edit that again and move it over here. So now we'll create a sketch. Just making a sketch on the XY plane, and I'm just drawing in this center line just because I like to have something to start working off of. So we know this is 3 and 3/16 inch, right? Actually, I'm going to do another line here. And I'm going to dimension it to get that constrained. So now we have 2 constrained lines. To work one, we can start offsetting. So I'll take this offset. And just again, 3 and 3/16 divided by 2. Right, so one of the things in Fusion that I do, you can see this is not perfectly calibrated, but I'm really going with the dimensions on here. I'm not trying to copy the picture per se. I'm just using it as a reference. So now to get this other one, that's 3 inches. So we'll do another offset. Oh wow, that's way off. That's interesting. So yeah, this is where this drawing is really going to break down on us, in that it's not scaled at all. So now that we've got those dimensions that we need, let's just get that thing out of the way. So I'm going to trim these lines up. I'm going to take this, I'm going to mirror it to the other side. That just looks really off to me. I'm not sure why. Oh, I think we've got an issue here. Oh, that's why. See, we're way off here. So my dimension got construed there. So this should be... Oh, I know what I did. I did 3. It should be 2 and 3/16. There we go. That looks a lot better, doesn't it? So I don't like having a double line here, so I'm just gonna get rid of these and redraw them in. Reconstrain them. There we go. That's the basic starting point. So you can see that this is way off. We could go back and calibrate this again. I'm pretty sure I typed in, yeah, see, this should be 2 and 3/16. If you caught that, good eye. There we go. So that's pretty good. So now we're gonna do, so we've got that, we can do this round over right here. It says, I believe it says somewhere, 3/8. So just do a fillet, make those 3/8. Oh, that's 3/8 diameter. So 3/16. There we go. So at this point, we're gonna enter another, we're gonna drop in another canvas. So let's insert canvas. Oops. Okay, before we do this, let's do something that I like to do. It's just, well, yeah, this is a little bit tricky, but so there's a couple ways to get the frets in there. I'm going to finish the sketch. I'm going to create another sketch. I'm actually not going to create another sketch, but so you can go to StuMac and use a fret calculator to calculate your fret distances. The way I do this, because I've done it so many times, I just kind of wanted something to automate this task. So I created this little add-in here. This is made by me. If people are interested in it, I can put it up on the Patreon page. If you're not a Patreon member, it's $1 a month, and you get a whole bunch of Fusion 360 stuff from me. But so here we go. So I use this fret spacing calculator, and it basically just draws in all my frets for me. So 25.5, that's what we want. The fret spacing constant, the 17.817, that's a pretty standard intonation constant for today's stuff. 21 frets, that's right. This should be pretty much set up at Telecaster. So one of the things that it does is sometimes it makes 20 frets instead of 21 frets. So it looks like there's 21 there. So that was pretty easy, you know, like 2 button clicks, and I've already got my fretboard. It's not really lined up with what I want, where I want it lined up, but I can just edit that sketch and do that. So yeah, you can change the nut width on that. I have it set up at the pretty standardized settings that I use. It does look like it's a little bit thin, but I'm not going to use these anyways. You can dimension this to whatever works for you. We're just going with stuff here. You know, if you want to make I really want this to be configurable, right? So if you want to make a wider neck or a narrower neck, you should be able to do that. Projecting in a couple of points. I'm just going to draw these. So pretty quickly you get that profile there. Oh, oh, these aren't coming across. I should have made those a little bit wider, but it's all right. You're not going to need these lines until we go to start doing the fret CNC work anyways, so let's not fret about that too much. No pun intended. Or maybe pun intended, huh? So now let's drop that canvas in for the headstock. This isn't really a dimensional problem right here. I'm just trying to put in something to give me some ideas of where I want to go with this headstock. So I'm just going to hand scale this up to where it fits into my nut width. Another way to go with this would be to, you know, I can use the inspect tool to check this out. So it's 1.654, and then I can calibrate this canvas from here to here, 1.654. And that will make it set up pretty good. There we go. So now we have that. We're gonna do yet another sketch. I like to make a lot of different sketches. This is one of the things I found that's important in Fusion, is that if you try to get more stuff in a lot of lines in a single sketch, it starts freaking out on you. So make a lot of sketches, and that really works with the parametrics. So down here at the bottom you can see this timetable of what we've done, of the sketches we've created and the canvases that we've inserted. And those that's really to your advantage, and it's really a huge step forward in the world of 3D modeling and CAD CAM. So I'm gonna take my spline tool here. Well, before we do that, let's project in some lines. Spline. So I don't know if you guys have been watching any of the other live streams, but I'm really big into overlapping. So what I'm going to be doing is this overlapping and cut, and I do this with everything in my woodworking, in my design work, and my modeling. But so I'm going to make this, well, I have to project it to make that happen. I'm going to project this one as well. So I'm going to make this line tangent with this line. I'm going to kind of work it into the shape that I want, but I'm not going to do this round over. I kind of want to just do that there. So I'll drop in a line. Grab another spline. When you're drawing these, don't really worry too much about them. You just want to kind of plop them in and then work with them afterwards. So this one again, we're going to make tangent. And I'm not going to get super fussy here. You can get this exactly the way you want it. You can, you know, try to stay totally true. There's a lot of different methods when it comes to doing this kind of stuff. So I have overlaps here. I'm just going to use my trim tool, and I'm going to trim out these overlaps. Whoops. Oops. Again. There we go. Now we're going to fill it. 0.25 looks good to me. We kind of messed this one up when we did that. Yeah, sometimes these fillets on splines can be a little fussy. Okay, that's enough fussing around with that. So now, well, let's make this. There we go. So see how that went from, you know, not shaded to shaded? That means this is continuous circle, and I can extrude it. So that's really important in Fusion to be able to do that. So we're going to finish the sketch just because I'm going to make another sketch. Let's get this out of the way. So we've come a long way here. I could put in the circles for that, but let's not worry about that for now. For the tuner holes is what I'm talking about there. So let's see, how far are we into this thing? $19 minutes, yeah. Let's just keep cranking along. Hopefully people like this. It's going to be long. So I need a little profile that kind of is the back of the neck here. And it usually comes from this point and is filleted around here. And then I need the same thing over here for this side. So what I'm going to do is create yet another sketch on the XY plane. I'm going to project in those points. Spline tool again. Make them tangent. I'm going to make this parallel. That looks a little wonky. Anyways, yeah, you can get that perfect. I'm not going to go into it right now. I really just want to have that in there. I don't really have to have it perfect, but I just want it in there. So do the same thing over here. We'll just do it in that same sketch. Something like that. We can also project these in. So the nice thing about Fusion and its its parametric design capabilities is that if we miss something or if we need to go back in and touch something, we can go and do that. So this is a good starting point. We do need a couple of other contours here, and they are essentially the back of the neck profiles. So to do that, I'm going to take a construction and go plane at angle. I'm going to come off the first fret here and make a 90-degree plane. I'm going to do the same thing. I think I'm going to use this fret right here. And you can really change the contour that we're going to end up with by moving these things around. So, and you can do it afterwards too, which is nice. It's fully parametric. So now we have those. We're going to do create sketch on that plane. I'm going to project in the edges. Oop. So that's one of the things right here. So I need this fret line to line up perfectly with the edge of the fretboard. So we need to go back. Which fret was that? It was the 1, 2 in front of this. So wait, 1. Okay. This one right here. And we know the other one's the first fret, so I'm going to trim that one off too. Okay, finish. So parametric modeling just saved our butt right there. So I'm going to project these ends. I'm going to make a line. So now there's a ton of data online that will tell you, dimensions to go with this. You can go with historical dimensions. You can start reading all of the history. For right now, let's just go with something. So we don't have the fretboard. We're going to consider the fretboard is going to be 1/4 of an inch. So we got 0.75, but I'm just going to go 0.7, just a little bit less. And then I'm going to take the spline tool. Do 3 points. Sometimes it's advantageous to look at it from this different angle. Oh, see, there's a problem right there. So we got to make sure that this is perpendicular. There we go. So I like to make these parallel with the center line. And then I also like to make them equal. And then also this center one, you want it to be parallel. There we go. So now you can take these handles and kind of like work in a shape if you want. You want like a really V shape. I tend to like a shape that's pretty wide but contoured. And this is what I'm going for. The point is that you can configure this to anything that works for you. There are guitar engines out there that make these things very static, but you can really mess around with these and make a lot of cool neck profiles and something that works for you, something that's unique to you and something that feels good to your hand. And then you can replicate it over and over and over again, so that's awesome. So I think I want to draw a line here just so that I can get that. Lock that, finish. So now let's bring in that construction, do the same thing up here. Create sketch on this plane. Project the edges. Line from the center. Well, as you can see, I didn't get this one on the center point over there, so I'm going to have to go back and fix that. So we did 0.7 on the back. We want it to be a little bit, so let's just go 0.65. 0.65. And these are just arbitrary measurements that I'm doing here. I'm not doing anything off the standard Telecaster model here. You can do that research and do that yourself if you like. Or you can do what feels good to you or what you think is good. So again, I really want this to be useful so that you can make your own designs, not necessarily just replicate the Telecaster. So again, we're just gonna set these parallel to the center line. Make this one parallel to this line, and then equal, and then we can start manipulating them. And I like to bring it down, so it's really kind of a dynamic surface, but I like to make it kind of a little bit pointier as it gets closer to the neck, and this is just my preference. So something like that. Lock that one up. Now let's go back to that previous sketch and fix it, because we did not do it right. Okay, I see what happened. Delete. Project. I believe we went with 0.7. Fix this now. Okay, there we go. So twice now, parametric modeling saved our butts. So there we go. That's your basic stuff. There's another headstock profile thing, but we'll get into that. We're getting really long here. We're almost at 30 minutes already. But that's what this is. If I'm going to try to do it start to finish, it's going to be long. So we've got a few people watching. I apologize for the length on this one, but now we're going to start doing some modeling. We got our drawings done. So I'm going to extrude this negative 0.75. I'm going to do the same thing with the heel. Let's get some of these drawings out of the way. Negative 0.75. Okay, then I'm going to take these two, and then I'm going to run a loft there. So there we have our basic neck profile. So from there, you want to, we're in solid right here. If you look up here in the left corner, oh, I've had this thing in the way the whole time. I'll get that out of the way. So if you look up here, you got solid, and then you got surface. So let's go to surface and get these sketches out of the way. And I'm just going to click on this surface and delete it. Same thing with this. So if you look over here right now, this body is a body, and when I delete this surface, it becomes a surface. So now we're going to do some more lofts. We just can continue to work here in the surface modeling. Okay, so we get to here. We've got some stuff where we need to get the neck, back of the neck to that profile that we drew. So let's find that thing. So I just ran a cut there of that shape. I deleted this here, but if I go back, you know, again, we're going to use parametric modeling. I can go back and edit that feature, and I can create it from an offset plane of 0.1, negative 0.1. There we go. Oop, that didn't work. So let's just go with this. So I'm just going to fill this in with loft. Oh, that's not what I want to do. So we're going to keep that loft, but I'm going to add a rail. There we go. That's what I'm looking for right there. So now we have it. We may end up deleting this face a little bit here. To get them all together, we're just going to not trim. We're going to stitch them all together just so we get them all into one piece. Okay. So now this is the tricky part. We've gone over this before, but you know, let's just go there. I'm not sure how this is going to be. I'm doing this all on the fly, so I'm not really sure how this is going to work out. But let's just go for it. So I'm going to create a sketch on this face. I'm going to project in some points for the edges here. I'm going to make this line coincident to those points. Oh. And I want to make sure that these lines overlap this heel and neck back sections. I'm going to put in a couple lines. I'm going to make them construction lines by selecting them and hitting X. And then I'm going to draw another line. I'm going to make it coincident to, you can't make it coincident to the center point, so you have to create points that are at the center point and then make them coincident to those points. There we go. This one's not quite long enough. There we go. You can put in as many or as few of these as you like. I've actually found that I get better surfaces from fewer lines, so that's what I've been going with lately. So now we finish that, we create yet another sketch. I like to make it on the back surface of the heel here, and then I'm gonna, oops. Edit sketch, create, project to include, project to surface. Oh, sorry, I didn't get those to the other side. I need to do that really quick. Let's go back and edit that sketch. Take these two lines, create a mirror. Like that. Okay. There we go. Back to project include, project to surface. The surface that we want to project to are these three right here. The curves that we want to project are these right here. We're going to go along vector, and I like to choose just this XY face. And there we go. So we just projected those lines across. Now we're going to create a spline. Okay, that's a little bit tricky. So I usually like to go from this point up to this one. Sometimes it just doesn't let you select it. So maybe if I do a project. There we go. Oh, I deleted it. Oh, shoot, I put it down there. I don't know why. Oh, that's why, because my sketch is on the wrong plane. So let's finish sketch. We'll right click over here, redefine sketch plane as this one. Okay. Okay, we lost our projections when we did that. So we'll redo those. we go. Should be able to do it now. I'm just creating splines between all these points. Then I'm going to make them tangent. So there's a couple ways you can go with this. You can make them tangent to both sides. I have to project this line in to be able to do that. But you can make them tangent to both sides, and you can make a really smooth contoured heel. You can leave it as a sharp edge on one side. We'll just go with this just because I just did it. So now we got that. You do the same thing up here. We're getting really long on this video, so I'm gonna just do this back heel, and maybe we'll catch up on the next one and just totally finish the thing. But I want to show you how we finish this off. We're just gonna use the loft surface, and we're gonna loft across here like this. We're gonna use rails of both of these sides, so we can see when that happens, we get the error. That means that one of these contours is not touching right there. It's this one. So let's go back, edit this sketch, and redraw that one. So if you don't get it dead on that point, then you're gonna have problems with this. So this is what I'm doing. Going back and trying this again. See if we can get that done. Go back into loft. Add the rails. It doesn't want to go. So you get this a lot. You'll see something is not working, and you just kind of have to mess with it until you can get it to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to do half here. And then I can maybe, well, no, let's figure out what's wrong with this, why we're not getting this. So let's just break it down to less curves. So it's not that one. It's the center one. So it looks like we had two that were a little bit off. And it's just if they're not dead on that spot, because this spot has to meet exactly with the rail, and if it doesn't meet exactly with the rail, it's not going to be able to loft across. Okay, let's try it again. Let's add in these rails just to see if we can see where the problem is. Well, we got past now it's this one. I was sure that we were getting it from the other side. Oh. So sometimes you have to do it like this. You have to do one side and then the other side. So we'll just do that. It's trying to do some pretty complex math here to get these to loft like this. And that's really your shape right there. So if I get rid of all these sketches, now I can stitch these together. There's a few different ways to do this part right here. You can do another loft. I generally don't try to make this perfect to the model. I like to leave kind of an edge there, and I like to clean that up by hand. I'm not trying to make an absolutely perfect model cut by the CNC, so I don't have to touch it at all. You can see there's error right there. So that's where our problem was. We don't have it on this side. So I wonder... Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out a way to get this to come across the other side. I've got an error in there, and that's what happens when you try to do stuff live. Oh, Patrick Kelly says, I'd like to see how you create a volute. I'm not sure what you mean by the volute, but yeah, let me know what you're talking about. I'd love to do that. Oh, there it is right there. There's the problem. I'm still having an error. Okay, let's try to go halves on them again. It's saying that the center one. Oh. It looks like it's on, but I think it's off. This is what makes this so time consuming. Is there's just really a lot of back and forth. Oh, the back of the headstock, yes. I have a couple of videos on doing the back of the headstock as well. It gets really complex depending on the different geometries you're going to do. Oh, still having a problem here. Okay. Option number 3. So sometimes this gets to be really convoluted and you just cannot get them to loft the way you want it to loft. So a lot of the ways I get aware, well, some of the ways that I get around that is this, where I'll just do the sections that I can, and then we'll stitch them together. And then we'll create a loft. Oh. I messed that up. It's because I didn't have the rail in there. Okay, there we go. Stitch them all together. Now I have this section I can loft into here, and I can add the rails. There and there. Okay, finally. That took a lot of time. So now we have these little patches here. There's a couple ways you can go about that. You can just use patch, which works pretty good. And that's generally what I go with. You can also loft this. And there's a lot of different ways you can loft it, so you can mess around to see what you want. I leave this edge in here because I like to clean that up by hand, and that's really just the way I like to do it. So now we just have one more, incredibly complex. This is the very hardest part. So let's bring those sketches back in. We'll edit this sketch again. So lots of parametric stuff going on here. I'm going back and forth in time all the time. And this is really the advantage that I knew I didn't get that on there. So yeah, this is really the advantage that Fusion is giving us, is that we can do this. It's not linear in time, you know. I don't have to go back and fix something and then try to come back forward again. So giving me the opportunity to move back and forth. Oops, that's not what I want. I'm not sure why it's doing that. Yeah, so Fusion has been doing this recently, and I'm not really sure, I haven't figured it out, but the tangent C is going opposite here. So I like to leave this edge here kind of sharp. I'm not going to make those tangent, but I do like this one to work, and I think it has something to do with me not being exactly... I'm just going to draw another line in here that goes from point to point. Oops, messed that up. There we go. It just really does not like doing that. That's frustrating. There's a reason this is happening. I don't know what it is. Okay, yeah, that fancy little diamond thing on the back, the volute. The guys are talking in the comments about the volute, that diamond-shaped reinforcement in the back of the neck. You see those on some Martins and some interesting instruments. That is incredibly complex geometry. I'd love to do one of those, and we will do one of those. Yeah, I'll figure out how to make a video on that, and I think that's a really great thing to do. Anyways, where are we on time? We are almost an hour, so This is a little bit too long for video for me. I think what we're going to do is we're just going to drop it here at this point. I'll show you where we're at. So we just need to get in this neck contour. I've done this in a couple other videos. I'm going to figure out why I'm not able to get this to be tangent, and I will do a second video finishing this up. We'll cut through the headstock and drill the holes, and we'll have the thing done. But that's going to be it for today. I thank you guys that are watching, and the suggestions on videos are awesome. I'm going to do all of them. I hope to do all of them. But yes, check out those guys. I appreciate everything you guys are doing. I appreciate the subscription. Our Patreon is just really growing, and it's awesome. It's really awesome what's going on, and I can't thank you guys enough, and we will catch you next time.